Saul and the Israelites assembled a camp in the valley of Elah and drew up their battle line to meet the Philistines. The Philistines occupied one hill and the Israelites on another, with the valley in between them. A champion named Goliath, who was from Gath, came out of the Philistine camp. He was over 9 feet tall. He had a bronze helmet on his head and wore a coat of scale armor of bronze weighing 5,000 shekels, which was about 125 pounds. Verse 6, on the legs he wore bronze greaves, and a bronze javelin was slung on his back. Verse 7, his spear shaft was like a weaver's rod, and its iron point weight, the iron point weighed 600 shekels, which is about 15 pounds. His shield bearer went ahead of him. Verse 8, Goliath stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel. Goliath stood and shouted at the children of Israel. And this is what he said. Why do you come out and line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine? And are you not the servants of Saul? Choose a man and have him come down here to me. Verse 9. If he is able to fight and kill me, we will become your subjects. We'll become your slaves. But if I overcome him and kill him, you will become our subjects and you will serve us. Then the Philistine said, this day I defy the ranks of Israel. Give me a man and let us fight each other. And on hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and all the Israelites were dismayed and terrified. Can you imagine, because of one man, an entire army was terrified? I mean, that's a difficult concept to comprehend, because of one man. Yes, he was big. Yes, he was powerful looking and very intimidating. But a whole army, an entire army, including their king, was intimidated and fearful of this man. They weren't fearful because of the weapons he had, or they had these incredible advanced weapons. No, but just one man was able to intimidate the army of soldiers. And I'm sure he was huge. He had to be so intimidating to do this. But the question I have this morning for you is, what giants are you facing right now? Whose or what is intimidating you right now? What's causing fear to grip your heart at this moment? Well, they were facing Goliath and they were scared and fearful. But what's causing you to be scared and fearful? What's causing you to lay awake at night? Is it your finances? Is it the possibility that you'll lose your house? Is it your children's behavior or actions? Is it your spouse? Is it the fear of losing your job? How about this economy? Is that your giant that you're facing right now? What about the fear of terrorism? What about the fear or the notion that you might die? Is that your giant right now? What is your giant? What is shouting at you right now at this moment? I'm certain that the majority of us here has a Goliath screaming at us, and we're fearful and we're trembling. We don't even want to think about it. We can't even let our mind go there without facing, without our heart racing, and we're just facing this fear. I'm convinced that the majority of us have a giant that we're facing at this moment. And if you're doing the same thing that the army of Israel did, and that is resorting to being dismayed and terrified, think about it. Because I'm so amazed that one man was able to intimidate an entire army. But by the same token, one situation, one person, one circumstance, one whatever the case may be, is intimidating you the same way right now. And we're resorting to fear and being dismayed. I believe that this is the day that the course of your life changes. That you choose today to step up and face the challenge head on. Go on to the offensive Instead of being on the defensive or reacting, it's time that we step up to the giant. It's time that we face the giant and step up. Today I pray that this is a day you no longer tell God how big your giant is, but that you tell your giant how big your God is. To not say, God, look how big my giants and my mountains are, but to look at your mountains and say, mountains, look how big the God that I serve. Today's the day that we do this and resolve this in our heart. My God is the King of kings and the Lord of lords, church. He is the great I am. He is the Alpha and the Omega. He is El Shaddai. He's El Rapha, my healer. Come on, He Shaddai. He's the God. He's Jehovah Jireh, our provider, not Al Cheapo, barely getting by. He's El Shaddai. Jehovah Jireh. He's Jehovah Amkadesh. He's Jehovah Sikkenu. He's our security. He's our banner. He's our strength. We shall mount up as wings as eagles, and run and not faint, and walk and not be weary. Come on, church. We serve a big God, bigger than any giant you're facing. Any giant that you're facing, we serve a bigger God than that. Today is the day that we realize that you can you don't no longer have to be fearful of your habits. What? Uh-oh, am I getting too personal? Hello. That you don't have to fear your addictions anymore. Your secret addictions. And God can help. With God's help, we can overcome those. Face them and overcome them. I pray that today you make a decision to turn to God and to face your giants and to do it with joy. Today is a day, I hope and pray you do that we lean on the Lord. Because He will guide us, He will show us, He will strengthen us. And through this we will build character. There will be maturity that grows out of us. There will be a strength that comes out of us when we turn to God. Brother Terry Nance says this: pass the test the first time, otherwise you're going to have to retake it. God, the reason why you know what? I don't know if you know this, but some of you have been facing the same giants over and over for year upon year for decades, some of you. The same giant, whether it's worry, stress, finances, whatever it is, you're facing it over and over and over. Why are you still dealing with that habit? Why are you still dealing with that addiction? Why are you still dealing with that hurt? Why are you still dealing with that sorrow? Why are you still dealing with disappointment and always being in a bad mood, always feeling sorrowful and suicidal and depressed? And why? Because God is waiting for you to turn that over to Him and pass the tests so that you don't have to keep on retaking it. Church, our giants are not too big to face. They're not too big. I want you to get that. If you turn your giants over to the Lord and trust the Lord like David did, the giants are not too big. And this, when we do that, it allows us to demonstrate to the Lord that we are completely dependent upon Him. And when we do this, God, He shines through our life. We allow Him to be glorified.